Hey everyone, and welcome to this episode of the Mic'd Podcast. I'm Mike, a hairdresser of over 20 years. One of the best parts of my job is the conversations that I get to have with all of my clients. We talk about anything and everything and invite you to listen in as we get mic'd up for today's conversation. We had Rachel in the chair today, who is the greatest massage therapist of all time, if you ask me. We laugh as she tells us all the crazy massage stories and proper etiquette for guests getting a massage. Enjoy this not so relaxing massage episode.
Not again. But he's so great. Like, he's the cutest little boy.
That's the thing. Once you have him, you're like,
yeah. You can't
not love them.
And you can't imagine your family without them too. So.
Although, do you ever think, what if we lived back in like the Middle Ages when you really could be like, a son, death.
I don't think about that way.
I mean, it just, times have changed, right? So you're just like, okay, well.
Actually, maybe confession.
Like,
you probably shouldn't confess on a podcast.
Probably shouldn't confess.
No,
what?
Middle of the night once, he woke me up by biting me super hard. And I was like, adoption. Like, he's done.
You're like, that's it.
Up until that point, he was, well, not my favorite, because my girls are like super, super cool. But he was like really cool. I was like, mama's boy. We'll be best friends forever. I won't let him date anyone. He bit me. I was like, no, like, you're out of the will. Like, you're not.
No, but like, really think about it. Like, back in the early days, if they used to do that. Now, I'm not saying that this is right or not, but like, it was really like people wanted sons. They wanted to carry on the name. They wanted to do all these things. And so if they had a daughter, it was like this, there's like all those stories of like King George and all these like they wanted sons. And if their wives couldn't give them a son, they could either kill the daughters or
but like, honestly,
banish the wife.
That's totally the sperm's fault. So. And like all of these arguments of like women can't do this, I'm like, that one's on you. Like,
well,
100%.
now we know that, but like back then, the solution was death or banishment. It was crazy.
It's on them.
But I don't know. Not saying that I've ever thought that about my kids, but I thought,
Well, I'll say even before we knew he was a boy, we both separately kind of felt like 3 was like really good. My husband was like, yeah, I think I'd be good being a girl dad. Like, that could be fun. And I have all sisters. So I was like, yeah, I'm actually used to it. Like, that would be fun. But a little boy just, I don't know. It does add something different and fun. And he's super cute. Not saying you guys should try for a boy, but maybe you should.
No, that ship has sailed. We are free and clear.
Free and clear.
Unless Allie goes and has a baby with somebody else, it ain't mine.
Well, you'd think so. We have family who they have kids who are like my age. Then they had a little girl who's my daughter's age. Just surprise.
Nah, but see, well, here's the thing. Once you have the vasectomy.
No, they did.
I
shouldn't tell you that.
Well, no, because here's the thing. So, I'll get into it. Because I had a lot of questions before I had the vasectomy. But I sat down with the doctor previous and I said, we need to explain to me what's happening. Because he said, back in the day, they used to just cut, it's called the vas deferens, I'm saying it wrong. But
How does everyone know this?
They would cut it and then just solder it. And so over time, those two soldered ends could kind of rub together and break off the soldering and then reconnect, and you would have...
Which honestly is kind of amazing.
So if you had a vasectomy prior to whenever they changed the process, in the 90s maybe, I don't know. I'd have to look it up. But if you had it before that... Yeah, now they cut out a whole section. So this is funny. The doctor, he basically said, imagine that you're standing on the Grand Canyon and you're looking over to the other side. And on each opposite sides, directly across from each other, they build a giant concrete wall. And then in front of that, they put a chain link fence. He says the chances now of you getting pregnant if you have this kind of a section, because now they cut out a section, they solder, they clamp, and then whatever. So the clamp would be the concrete wall, the soldering.
I almost feel bad
I mean,
like labor.
well, and
I don't know.
I might get in trouble for that. I really do think like women have to go through the birth. I think
You
every
should take
man
care of the
should
birth
have
control.
to. I think every man should have to get the vasectomy if they're done having babies, because that's
How bad was recovery though?
Not. I mean,
bad?
it's 2 days. It's 2 days of feeling like you got kicked in the nuts, is essentially what it is. And then the next week, you're walking a little. Like I was back to work 3 days later, but I was like
Hobbling in.
Oh, I was like, all right, we're gonna wash your hair. Just come with me. And I'd turn and literally just walk like baby steps and take
so
10 minutes to
funny.
get over to the wash station.
That's so funny.
But, this is a good topic to come up with, because I would love to hear your opinion on this, because my wife has why is birth control only for women?
Because
Like all birth control falls on the duty of the woman, with
Well-
the exception of a condom.
no, there's birth control for men out there.
Is there?
Yes, but men.
But why are they not pushing it?
Well,
Why
here's the
don't they-
thing. Because in the studies, men felt like the side effects were too much.
Well, okay, so
Thank you. Can we make that sound bigger? Like just snort? Is there a way to enunciate that?
but but that goes back to like, well, who's creating these birth controls? And they're like, well, I don't want the side effects, but women birth control has side effects. Like there's some very negative side effects for women's
There are.
birth control.
There definitely
I
are.
will say though, a lot of men, we're kind of wimps when it comes to stuff. Like you've heard of the man flu, right?
Seen it with my own eyes.
I've heard of it, but I think it's a myth. I'm just kidding. Because I'm very much like, if I get sick, I don't lay in bed. I'm like, no, I'm gonna get up and go
Some
and
guys
do
get
the
it
thing.
worse than others.
Yeah. But no. I don't know. But yeah, birth control is one that I've talked to my wife quite a bit about. And she's like, I don't understand why it's pushed, it's advertised for women. But yet, if you really think about it, once a woman's pregnant, they can't do it. But a guy can get a girl pregnant and then go and impregnate 20, 30, 40, however, I mean, hundreds more. So why are they not saying, well, men, it's your duty now, because the people
patriarchy.
that create it don't want it is the patriarchy.
Well, yeah, we don't have to get into it.
Hi, Barbie.
This could go. Hi, Barbie.
No. Okay, so let's move on to something else. So welcome. I know
Thank you.
we've been already cutting and doing this, but welcome to the chair, sitting down.
I'll just have to fade the conversation somewhere.
Somewhere in
find
the-
best spot.
I mean, we've
Welcome
already
to the
started,
chair.
so it's fine.
Vasectomies and the patriarchy.
Vasectomies of the patriarchy.
We've been recording for 15 minutes.
Holy,
so
that's awesome. But no, okay, so you're
I'm Rachel.
You're Rachel.
Should I introduce myself?
like, I don't know if we need to introduce
Do
you
you
or
know
whatever.
me, Mike?
But
we
yeah,
had an appointment.
Well, but no, I'm going to be honest. Like, here's the thing. I was really excited because how long have I been seeing you now? Like 2 years? It's been
Maybe.
at least 2 years.
At least
I think.
2, maybe 3.
But
At
2
least
years
2.
ago, I was going through this thing and I was like, I really need to do something for myself. And because I was never that person that took time for themselves. I was always very big on making sure that others had what they needed and neglecting myself in the process. And a couple of years ago, I decided that I was going to every month get a massage. And I have stuck to it. And that is my one treat to myself every month. And you are the best massage
I'm the
therapist that I've ever found. And
You're so nice.
I truly, I have noticed a big difference in myself just by being consistent with treating myself to a massage.
I'll tell you, I've noticed a big difference in you too.
You're like, you don't have like some crooked hunchback.
You don't
and you're
hobble
not like,
anymore.
But no, it's like, it's one of those things that it was really hard for me to decide to do something for myself. But
Yeah.
I was excited to ask if you would come and be on this, because in a massage, like sometimes you don't get to talk that much. Like I don't really, I mean, there's a little talking here and there, but very, very minimal. It's not like a haircut.
It depends on the person.
Really?
Yeah.
You get talkers? You get
Oh,
people
yeah.
who just talk the whole time?
Yeah. And I will say, I mean, Mike, let's be honest. Some of your sessions you do talk the
Yeah,
whole
I know.
time.
I do talk now, but like
I will also say, I don't know if you should tell my clients this, but I think I give a better massage if you're quiet. I love it. I love the stories. I honestly have played with the idea, because we've had this conversation before, of how we learn so much from our clients. Because you just see this really broad cross-section of people. So I have clients in their 80s. I've had clients who are 8-year-old gymnasts. I've had people with kids, people who talk about their infertility struggles, people who, I don't know, are employed or not employed, or going through affairs, or going through like chronic health issues, or, you know, you just hear so much stuff. And then you'll also get people who like don't talk at all, right? And you'll just get pieces, but then you work on them for 3 years. And so I can remember clients who never said a word on the table, but I knew that they were like scuba instructors and like lived in these, just from like the 5, 10, 15 minutes before the session.
okay.
So it's interesting. You'll get talkers, but you'll still get pieces of people's lives. So I've played with the idea of starting a podcast or writing a book, or like collecting stories from these people, because I've gotten like advice when I was dating. I got a ton of advice. You get like, I don't know, restaurant recs and like just all the things, like best places to go tanning or shopping, or like best parenting books. I don't know. It's so fun.
But so I guess I mean, maybe you can help everybody that's listening understand like what is proper etiquette for like somebody, because I mean, we've had conversations about this before, and I think it's when I was getting massages, one of the biggest fears of mine was always passing gas. Like I was always afraid that I was gonna like.
It happens all the time.
But it's like
Nobody says, excuse me.
really
No.
What?
It's like if I
And
don't
it's
say
like-
anything,
It's like
I
did
guess
you notice?
so. But it's like, it's two of you in there. So it's like, do I say something? Do you say something? And then nobody says anything. And we just like,
You're like, is there a dog in here?
keep it going.
I think that would be more awkward. I feel like you just have to say excuse me.
You'd think so.
But no, like that has always been a fear. And I mean, for a guy, the other fear is that they get an erection. Like that's
Also happens. You just go really hard. Well, it depends. It depends on the client. If they're super creepy, you just go really hard up the IT band. It goes away really fast.
Wait, what? The IT band?
On the side of your quads.
Okay.
It hurts like a mother. It really does.
So this is going to be a good conversation, because when it comes to massages, and I hope I'm not alone in having these fears, what do people do? Like, what is the etiquette?
They
like,
also
obviously
don't say
saying
anything.
excuse me.
Oh,
saying
wait, for
excuse
farting
me,
or
like,
for something else?
both. For like, okay,
Okay.
let's talk passing gas first.
Okay.
Say I apologize. Like, oops. Like, I don't know what do you say. Like, I don't know.
You're like,
What do
I'm
you
not
say?
sorry, but
Like,
oops.
I don't know. Like, do you say, like,
Okay.
what do you say? Because that is
Ideally-
truly
well,
one of
here-
my worst nightmares is,
Ideally, I feel like excuse me would be fine, but also I feel like, I mean, I've been doing this for like 9 years, and it just happens.
Yeah.
Like, it's just humans. And maybe you're this way with your clients too. Like, do you remember who doesn't pluck their eyebrows?
I mean, some.
Oh,
yes.
shoot.
Some, yes. I mean, I'm not a big, I don't pay attention to a lot of eyebrow stuff, but
See,
I do.
and that's the thing, is like, you might notice, but like, you won't really think about it that
Yeah.
much, you know? Or you might like think it's funny, but it's like moving on. You know what I mean?
It's not going to be like if somebody does that.
It's not the end of the world.
That you're going to be like, I will never see them again.
Yeah.
Like, okay, well,
You just realize like it's a human
Like,
thing.
it's It's not like the next time they come by, you're like, last time. This
Well,
person
like,
wanted-"
yeah, like 90% of the time, I don't remember who did what.
Right.
Like 90%. And then there's occasionally where I remember people that I'm like, that was unique. Like, that was, I've never experienced that before. But even then, like, this is, my heart goes out. I don't remember who it was. Like, genuinely have no idea. I think it was a client I saw one time and never again. But they had toilet paper. Like, you drape people above the gluteal cleft, right? Above the crack. You keep it, like, draped, clean, whatever. But you could see the toilet paper. And I was like, shoot. Like, do I say, I'm not going to grab, but, like, do I help her? I didn't say anything.
Of course you do. It's
no.
like, it's like when somebody's
No.
zipper's down. You just tell them.
No.
You say, oh, I'm so sorry. It looks
I
like
didn't
you
say
have a little bit
anything.
of toilet paper stuck here. I'm going to just go ahead and remove that for
No,
you.
I think it's like when women poop during labor. Nurses just don't say anything. You just whisk it away.
Do they
Move
teach
on.
you, like when you go through massage school, are these situations that they, because
Yeah.
we've talked before, they do have a class where they talk about like what if somebody gets inappropriate or does
Sure.
things like that are not supposed to happen in a massage unless you're, I don't know, some prostitute that's whatever. But they have classes on that so that massage therapists who don't want that to happen are
Yeah.
prepared for it and know how to
Yes.
handle it.
Yes.
Do they have classes for all this other weird, like,
For a good
do they
amount
have
of
a
stuff.
conversation about like, well, if you ever find toilet paper in
No,
somebody,
that's never. I was like shocked and surprised and was like, well, there you go. It happens.
but in that situation, yes, I definitely think you could say something like,
But I honestly, here's my thing, is unless it's actually affecting the massage, why ruin their day?
yeah,
Right? Like if their feet are super disgusting and they have no idea, but it's just like, oh, I can put a hot towel on here and just wipe it off and continue the massage instead of like, so by the way, next time you need to do this and this and this and this.
yeah.
You know, like, I don't feel like it's my job to like teach a woman how to wipe. Like, I just have to like, just kidding.
So I'm curious then. So why did you get into massage out of all of the things that you could have gone down that road? Like, was there something specific that
I think
attracted you to that?
It was convenient. I could pay for it immediately without huge loans. And then it pays pretty well and it's flexible. So I was originally going to school for behavioral science
Okay.
and thought that I would study like child psychology or like marriage and family therapy, something in that realm. But if you want to be good, you have to do 8 to 12 years of school.
Yeah.
And I was working at a deli and I was like, nah, like I cannot do this job for 8 to 12 years. And like, I will be in so much student debt and I'm not even 100% sure of my major. Like I have an idea, but like what I know for sure is that I want to be in a helping field. I know I want to travel and I know I want, I don't know, not something flexible, but maybe something varied like we were talking about, like my personality. I was like, I don't want to sit in the same place every single day.
Yeah.
So I kind of had the things on my checklist of what I knew for sure. And then I legit heard an ad on the radio for massage school. And I was like, oh, that would work. Why don't I go tour some in like Colorado or like, I don't know, Canada or somewhere new that I can go and live and do school. But I toured the Salt Lake City campus here in Utah.
Okay.
And I just loved the people. Like everyone was amazing, like so kind. And I signed up that day. Like I just
Didn't even
loved
go
the
look at
community.
anything else.
I
You were just
didn't.
like, this
I
is
didn't.
it.
And my thought had been like, oh, that's a great excuse to get out of Utah. Like I'll go to school somewhere else and it'll be really fun and this whole experience. But I just loved the campus and I met some of the coolest people I've ever met. And it's changed the rest of my life. So I'm glad I did it.
So did you ever feel like, I mean, did you know that this was the type, because there are different types of massage, there's different ways to go through it. Mm-hmm. Did you know specifically you wanted to be in, I guess it would be therapeutic? Is that therapeutic massage? Is that
I think that's
what it would be classified as? Or
I think it could be, because I kind of dabble in a couple different things. And that's a really good broad like catch-all for whatever clients need. I really enjoy adapting to different types of clients, because what we were talking about before about all the different ages and life circumstances, like you meet a lot of different people, which I like, versus just working with athletes or just working with super wealthy people or just working with people going through physical therapy. Like I get a lot of different things, which I enjoy. But yeah, I don't know. It's kind of naturally evolved. And I've taken some stuff and left other things. And I honestly thought I would have gone back to school by now. But we got pregnant like the year I was applying to go back to school. And I was like, okay, let's pick 2 out of the 3. Like I can work and have a baby, or I can go to school and have a baby.
What do you want to go back to school for? Behavioral science?
I thought that would be really good. I don't know. I don't have a specific.
Because one thing, like, I mean, even as I've gotten massages for you, like some of the things that I think like interest you, I mean, you're very much, I mean, you and my wife are very one and the same as far as like really into energy and like different, like, what's the book that I always forget the name of it.
Feelings Buried Alive.
Like you're very much in like, oh, okay. So if you're having this pain here, it could be, yes, we can release the muscles and do all that stuff, but it may actually be.
Yeah. And it's funny you say that, because I'm probably one of the least energetic people.
Oh, really?
Like, at least bodywork wise. I mean, because think of Amy. Mm-hmm. If that's 100, I'm like 45.
And Amy is like she's a spiritual, I guess, healer is what you would call her. So maybe if you're in the field, you just compare yourself to like the people who are super in it. So I probably am a lot more into it than into energy work and energy healing. But I'd say you're right as far as like holistic healing. Holistic healing.
Yes.
Maybe that's the.
Yeah. As far as like your emotions affect your body and your body affect your emotions and your relationships and your nutrition and all of the things connect. And I do think that's huge. So I'd love to go into like, I've thought about going into nutrition. I've thought about going into counseling. I've thought about going into pediatric physical therapy. I think would be really rewarding, probably really difficult, but really needed. So like helping little kids to like heal from injuries or chronic issues physically.
Is it, I mean, it's fun. I've never even considered that little kids would get massages. Is it how?
It's not common.
It's not common.
No.
But you've done, like, is that?
I've done some.
I feel like they couldn't sit still long, like, or is it? But I'm comparing it to like me sitting there or laying there for an hour and a half.
Right.
It's probably like
it's shorter. Totally shorter. And honestly, in some places, they base your massage time off of your body type. Like in Ayurvedic massage and like just different countries, it's based off of body type, what you'll need, which is so taboo in the US. Like you don't say whether someone's fat or skinny or tall or short. You just kind of like hold it in a little bit.
Yeah.
But yeah, so kids you typically do shorter. So but it depends, like if they're athletes too, you know, like if they have a specific goal.
But why would kids come in for a massage? Like, is it specifically for like medical reasons, or is it because it's not? Again, it's probably not for just relaxing.
Well, every once in a while,
if somebody's
a parent
like 80.
just brings their kid in, and you're like, dude, I'm gonna have to work their hands and feet for like who knows how long, because their tiny backs are like the size of my palm.
Yeah.
They're like 6 years old, and I'm like, great, this will be a lovely hour because, yeah.
But that would be.
So you just go with it.
People are just bringing their kids in, and they're like, yes.
Not always. It's not common.
Okay.
I think parents think it's too expensive of a like outing for their children often.
I don't know though, because like people are taking their 16-year-olds now to get freaking Botox and lip injections.
That's the thing. Once they're teenagers, I get a ton of teenagers who their parents are like paying for it.
Okay.
And I'm like, sure.
Oh man. So do you have like what's your favorite type of client besides me? Like obviously like what do you enjoy the most? Is it the relaxing? Is it somebody that, because you wanted to get into helping people, is it somebody that has an injury and you're like, I want to make it so that you can actually work again? Or like, where do you find the most joy?
I think it looks different for every person. And this isn't to sound full of myself, but I think I'm good at holding space for people. So whether they talk or they don't talk, or whether they need something that's like physical healing, or whether they need a space for emotional healing. Like I had a client a couple days ago who came in and she was just like, she's a talker. And I worked on her for probably 2.5 or 3 years. So she was pregnant the first time she came in, super, super sick with morning sickness. Like I remember I gave her like Gatorade instead of the typical water because she couldn't even keep water down. So I was like, let me just send you on your way. Like, you know, thinking I'd maybe never see her again, like one-time client. And now she's had that baby. He's turning 2. She's pregnant with her next one. And she was just talking to me about everything from baby names to family relationships to like this new health thing going on with one of her kids. And she was just like, Rachel, I never tell anyone this stuff. Like, thank you for just listening. And I was like, how cool that you can just hold space for whatever. Mm-hmm. Because people don't know where to look for that. Like, they don't. It's shocking to me how, and I think this is the reason I'd want to like write down people's stories or share them in some form, because you'd be shocked how you're not alone in the thing that you think you're alone in. You saying, I don't know how to hold time for myself. This is the only thing I do for myself every month. I have a lot of clients like that. Or clients who are like, don't have anywhere else to talk about their mother-in-law. I have quite a few clients like that. Or couples who come in struggling with certain things, or like parents who are worried about their kids, or I'm not saying people aren't special, but we have a lot more that connects us than people think. Mm-hmm. You know, like so many people going through religious crises.
Yeah. Faith crisis. Or
whatever they call it these days. I'm sure cool people have an abbreviation for that nowadays, but
FC.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like that's what the young people would call it.
But they'll come in and being like, "Oh my gosh, I'm worried about this and this and this," and you don't say like, "Oh, well, my last client talked about that same thing." Like, get over it.
Yeah.
But it's shocking. Like, oh my gosh, I wish I could tell you my last client struggled with this too, and you're like, it'll be okay. Like they figured it out this way, or can we start a support group for like whatever it is? I don't know. But that's when it's most rewarding, to answer your question, is when I realize I've held space for them in a way that they healed. Even if they don't say a word the whole time, they'll leave and just you can tell they're like peaceful and okay and ready for whatever.
Well, but do you find like, I mean, because doing hair is a little different in the sense that like people aren't in that relaxed state the whole time. Maybe why we wash the hair, but we really do just sit and talk while we're doing the hair.
If you brush lighter, it might be more relaxing.
Oh,
I'm kidding.
I'm like, I'm sorry.
No, you're fine. I'm really kidding.
But no, like that whole idea of people talking to you, because here's the thing. I was always told that as a hairdresser, we're a very rare type of profession in the fact that we both get into people's mental psyche, but we also immediately, as soon as they sit down in the chair, they allow us into their physical, personal bubble. But it's sounding like with you, like because people are comfortable enough to just talk during the massage, you get both of that as well. So you build this connection with people in a way that they will feel comfortable to tell you whatever is on their mind. And there's something freeing about that to, I think, the people sitting in the chair. I mean, I've had women sit in the chair that this is me making an assumption. I don't know their full relationship, but they talk and it's almost like, does your husband even listen to you? Like, it's kind of an interesting, I think when they have somebody and your full attention is to them, they can say whatever they want, feeling comfortable in the space that you've given them.
Yeah. And it's honestly, I'm sure you feel this way too, but sometimes I just leave work feeling so privileged to have been like trusted in that way. Mm-hmm. Even if they don't say anything, they let me be in their space.
Yeah.
And be in their energy and like move their bodies around, and they trust me with certain things that I don't know. It's hard for me to realize they don't have people like that everywhere.
Yeah.
You know?
But I like the idea of, I mean, it would be, and I think it's this unwritten rule within hair, and I'm assuming now with massage, that like whatever is said between me and the person that is in the chair or on the table, that's between us, and it's never repeated. Like I don't, unless I'm talking to that same person again, it's never brought up. And I think there's that, again, that's the level of trust that you would give, so that you know that people laying on the table can tell you whatever, and that's going to stay between you and them.
Well, and you have to get good at it too, as far as like leaving work at work. Mm-hmm. Because I mean, I had a client, I have so many clients who tell me hard things, you know, about spouses passing away and finding their spouse, you know, like just sharing like what that was like. And then they go home and part of me is like, can I help you? Like, what do you do when you know that they're going to be home all by themselves and they're like 80 years old?
Yeah.
But you have to learn to just like, that's not my step. I did my job of holding space, and you have to trust you do your job well enough, and then trust that they'll find what they need, you know?
Yeah.
And just like cut it off. Like you have to have those boundaries. I don't know if you see that with other hairstylists. Do you?
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, there are some like
boundaries.
There are definitely boundaries that have to be set. But I've had clients before that I know that they're having a hard time, or they're going through something that's really, really personal and really, it's a hard thing to get through. So even though my job is do their hair, make them look as absolutely beautiful as they can, I still also want to be a decent human to that. So there are times that I will text clients, or I'll do something. I mean, I've had clients that I know where they, sounds really cute, I know where they live. So I will drop something off and just say, hey, I was thinking about you, and it's again, because there is a relationship. When you truly get into somebody's physical bubble and you talk and you get into their emotional psyche, there's a relationship that bonds. Mm-hmm. The hard thing is keeping the professional relationship and not.
Well, and even outside of that, because I feel like that's one thing of like, when you have this ongoing year-long relationship, I mean, professional relationship, obviously, of like hairstylist and client, you might like show them pictures of your kids or drop something off for Christmas, or they might bring something for you for Christmas or, and there's that relationship. But I think also the boundary of like, the emotional boundary, like I rarely talk about my own stuff during massages. Mm-hmm. Like there's certain things I just don't, if I have, I don't know, marriage problems or kid problems or physical problems, or I'm feeling crappy, it does not matter. I show up and it's their day.
Yeah.
And that's just what you do. Where I'm seeing a lot of like, was it you we were talking about kids these days, like coming into the workforce, and which is so silly. Like it's not everyone, but I'm seeing a lot of friends new to massage who I just love them, and they're so cool. and they're calling in sick for the smallest things. I'm like, don't you want money? Or like, don't you value these people's time that have scheduled with you? Or don't like, and they'll be like, the energy from that last person was just too much. It gave me a headache and I need to go home. And I'm like, well, that is a thing. Like, I'm not going to deny that it's not a thing to like, you know, when someone's super happy and pumped and they come in the room and you pick up on that energy?
Yep.
Or someone's super low and you pick it up. So it happens with massage, unless you physically are like, and this might sound a little hippie, but you can visualize like putting a bubble around yourself or taking their energy and just like putting it in a bag, like putting it away from yourself. Like, you do not take it on. It is not your job. It is not your emotion. Like, and it's hard because you love them and you like are empathetic and most people are in those helping professions, right?
Yeah.
But it's not your staff.
Yeah. Well, and I think leaving, like, again, the job is to make people feel comfortable, happy, safe. If I bring all of my
Baggage.
shit from home,
and yeah.
I'm like, I'm going to unload on you because I need, like, then I'm not doing my job. I'm not.
And I've had massages like that. I've actually had haircut or gotten my hair done with hairstylists like that too, who are just like telling me all their stuff. And I'm sitting in the chair like, shoot, one lady even handed me the blow dryer at the end because she was having a hard day.
No. And was like, can you blow dry your own hair, please?
And looking back, I'm like, why did I take the blow dryer? But I did. And she was just like, yeah, and my kids, I have to get them from school and like all this stuff. And I'm just like, yeah, I get it. And I didn't get it because I was like 17 and like had no children.
So the next time I come in for a massage, you'll be like, here's the oil. Just go massage yourself.
I just
You'll
need
be
a
fine.
moment to
I need
meditate.
a moment. That last client really took it out of me. Be like, okay. No, but it's, I don't know. But so how do you teach it? Like, because they don't teach.
They do.
Do they teach? They didn't in hair school. In hair school, they're like, you guys
to an
got
extent,
this.
you guys got this. To an extent, they teach it. It's also
like, so what are the things to like, if you do have somebody that really like, you know, sucks the energy out of you because they're just, it's very heavy conversation or negative conversation. What's the secret to be like
denial?
On to the next one and be like, okay, I'm ready for you.
I can't remember. Is compartmentalization like healthy or not healthy? I don't remember. But that's what I do.
You just compartmentalize it?
Yeah. Just like, okay, that was their stuff and now they're done. And then I change the sheets and I move on to my next client. And maybe I will feel like a little, I don't know. Maybe I'm heartless. I separate myself.
No, but I don't think it's heartless to not get involved with people's
Well, because I think
stuff.
I am pretty empathetic. Like sometimes I'm very empathetic. Sometimes I like talk to a stranger on the street and I come home and I'm telling my husband, I'm like, and then I'll like cry. And he's like, dude, you don't even know them. Like, what is, and I'm like, don't you have feelings? Like, what about this? What if it was your mom that died? Or what about, and he's like, why would you say that? I'm like, well, what if? Like, we could lose both our, like all three of our children and our parents tomorrow if they were all driving together. And like, anyway, I might blow it out of proportion a little bit. But you can still work through it.
Yeah.
I don't know.
No, but I think it's just there is that fine line of like you being empathetic. I mean, it's still like
I think it's a practice for me. Like I practice holding space for people and then just trusting that they will go where they need to go.
Okay.
Because we can't all be best friends with everybody. We can't be the best spouse to everybody. We can't be a parent to everybody. We have to like really pour that into who we have, right?
Yeah. Well, it's a matter of deciding. Like, we only have so much time during the day. Where do you want your energy and your focus to go?
Yeah.
And if your time is being, again, like even just going back to like me choosing to do a massage, like that's once a month I dedicate an hour and a half of my time to do something for me. Previously, what did I do with that hour and a half? I could have been dedicating that energy or that time to, I don't know, something else that maybe wasn't bringing me any kind of joy, fulfillment, whatever. But
well, and I think what's kind of cool about that too is I think people overcomplicate a lot of things. And when you realize an hour and a half out of how many hours do we have in a month, and trusting like, okay, I don't know how this is going to look for, like, will it work? Will it not work? Like, that doesn't sound like a lot of time to give, like, will that body work do any difference? You know? But then you try it consistently and you realize it does make a difference. And I think that's what I notice with my clients is like, I cannot be there for everyone all the time, but I've seen enough clients that I only see 1 hour every month or every other month, and it's made a difference in their lives. So I just have to trust that.
yeah.
Like, I need to trust, no, I don't have to be their best friend. I don't have to like dig deeper into all of their hard times. Me just holding space will be enough.
Yeah.
And most of the time it is. And if it's not, I mean, I'm honestly just not the right person for it, and they need to go find that somewhere else.
Yeah.
You know?
So how do you, I mean, have you ever had that situation where you've been like, yeah, this isn't the right fit for you? Like, do you just, what's your, how do you remove yourself from that situation? Because I think there's a lot of
pawn
people.
them off on other therapists.
You're like, I'm sick. Can somebody take over?
Like, oh, can you cover this? I mean, it hasn't happened a ton. I do remember one woman who was like, she was so intense, Mike. So intense. So I worked at a Massage Envy in Texas.
Okay.
When I very first finished massage school. And there's this long hallway that goes back to the break room, right? And there's the lobby and then a doorway to the hallway. And that's like the quiet zone with all the spa doors and everything. And then you have the break room at the end of the hallway. She would rip open the hallway door and be like, Rachel. She's like this older woman with like a little bit of a limp. And I'd be like, I'm on my way. Like, calm the F down.
Like she was yelling for you to just
yes,
come give her the.
Yes. Even though we had like 5 minutes until her appointment time, whenever she got there, she was like ready. And I was like, okay, we'll just work with this. You know, I'd try to like alleviate a couple minutes, right? Like not sprint up there, but also she's still calling my name. I'm the only Rachel there. And then on the table, she would just go off about, like one time she just ripped the sheet off and was like, do you want to see this scar? Apparently she was in the FBI. She had a shark bite. Yeah, it was a lot. She would tell me what muscles names were. And I was like, she'd be like, rub the trapezoid. I'm like, the what? Like, the trapezoid. I'm like, trapezius, like on your back? No, on my leg. So she was pretty intense. And sometimes our schedules just happened to stop aligning because I did not know what to do with her. And then I had friends later who were working there like, oh my gosh, do you have the Indian burn woman too? I was like, yeah, I did. So there's a couple that are just like a lot all at once.
I mean, I think we all have, we all have people like that. I had a lady that literally wanted, she told me she'd grab the 2 pieces of hair right up by her temples and she would hold it straight down and say, see how when they're here, they're the same length. And I'd say, oh yeah, of course. They're mimic same
Totally.
side. And she's like, but if I part my hair way over to the right, I want them to be the same size. And same if I bring it to the left, I want them to still stay. And I said, that is physically impossible. But I love it when she's like, well, my last hairdresser did it.
Yeah,
I was
of
like,
course,
well,
of course.
Maybe
there are
go back
unicorn
to that person.
hairdressers and massage therapists who can do things that I have never heard.
But yeah, like, I mean, in those cases, it's like simple to be like, this is not a good fit
I
for
actually
us.
had this guy text me the other day. No idea how he got my number. But he was like, hi, I got a recommendation from someone. And so, you know, you start reading the text and like, oh, yes, word of mouth. Like, this is awesome. And then he was like, I heard that I got a recommendation that you do completely undraped massage. Can you tell me how much you charge and if that's accurate? And I was like, $200 an hour. It's not accurate, fully draped.
What?
And he was like, oh, sorry for the misunderstanding. I'm like, You got a recommendation from who? Like, there's no one. But the things people make up, like, well, my last hairdresser did it, or like, this worked this way once, like 40 years ago. You're like, yes, I love that for you. Okay, moving on.
Honestly, I wouldn't even know what to say. I'd be like,
oh, you just crank your prices up. And if they do say yes, it's the creepy tax. You get like an extra $200 or something.
But no, like.
No, they rarely say yes.
Oh, I'd be like, ugh. I'd be like 1,000 an hour. I'd be like, nope, not going to happen. But I'm not doing massage either. I'll do an undraped haircut, sure. Get hair all over you, why not?
Why not? No, I wouldn't do an undraped massage. I told him it would be fully draped, but it would be like $200 an hour. Like, oh, sorry, only totally professional massages, and I charge this. So then if he does say yes, he knows what he's getting in for.
Oh, man.
And you hope you're not, I don't know, murdered.
Well, I just wanted you to know that was not a recommendation from me. I didn't give the guy your number.
Thank you.
Wasn't like, hey, guess what, buddy? No. So what would you say, I mean, if you could give a really quick rundown of what you would want ideally for clients to know when coming into a massage to make your job a little easier and a little more pleasant? What would you tell people?
It's tricky. To make my job better?
If you could make the rules, like okay, when you come in, don't do this, do this. Like,
I'd have to think. My biggest thing, like the PC answer, is just communicate.
Okay.
Right? If you I swear, massage therapists were all people pleasers. So the more you communicate, like, oh, I loved this, or I didn't like this, honestly, the easier it is for us to do our job. Because you're happy and we're happy, and it's just like, because I'm not the best massage therapist for every client. But there's certain clients who have been coming to me for years, and I'd say I'm the best massage therapist for, like, we have that communication. My style matches their style, and it's awesome. So I'd say communicate to your massage therapist. Don't be afraid to go somewhere else if you don't like the therapist. Like, you don't owe us anything to stay. If you don't like it, we probably don't like you. Like, if our style doesn't match you and you're like, oh my gosh, go super, super, super light. Like, oh, I'd be petting you and I'd be like, this is not my like area of expertise at all. Like, petting someone.
Like, I just wanted a back scratch.
And there's therapists who do that. And they're great at it and they love doing that. And I'm like, okay, go find them. And that's perfect.
I will say one thing I would love to see in a massage thing is literally just get like 2 church pews that I can sit on, lay my head forward, and somebody can just scratch my back to remind me of my childhood when my mom would tickle my back in church.
Memories.
You'd be sitting there with your head down. Oh, it's the best.
So calming.
You're like, would you like to have a massage or a back scratch in the church pew room?
That's so funny.
Like, that's fun. But okay, so communicate.
Communicate. Don't be afraid to go to someone else. It's not weird if someone massages your butt unless you said specifically before not to. I could have said that in a better way.
It's not weird if somebody massages your butt.
Your glute muscles are one of the biggest muscle groups in your body.
Oh, yeah.
So if you're sore there and you are an athlete, I've had so many people be like, okay, is it weird if like this is so sore? And I'm like, no, it's not weird. Like, it's a muscle group. I totally get it. So like, I think there's more things like that than people realize. They're like, oh my gosh, I can't ask for this or this. Obviously, don't be creepy. I'll just kick you out. Like, I would literally just walk out of the room. But
I mean, I guess this is what is considered creepy.
If you grab my hand and wink, I'm out. Legit.
Grab your hand and wink?
Yes, it's happened before. He was married on a family vacation.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, don't be creepy. Well, creepy is one of those labels too that no guy ever wants. Because once you're labeled as creepy, that's it. You're done.
Oh, you'd think so.
Oh, creepy is like the worst label. Well, not the worst label, but it is a label that because if you're the creepy guy, everybody knows. Like if you had that experience, I guarantee like all the other massage therapists knew, and that he is then forever the creepy guy or creepy lady.
No,
It could
you don't
be
let him
creepy.
come back.
Yeah.
You just, if they're that direct, it's like, no.
Yeah.
But overall, I think just people, if they could know that like bodies are just bodies, everyone has muscles. We're not thinking about how much you weigh or about like if you shaved your legs or about what we literally see muscles.
Yeah.
So don't like over stress. Obviously shower before, that's great.
Well, but I think a lot of people
But you don't have to over stress about the little things of like.
I've even heard people say, "Oh, I don't want to go get a massage because I don't look good enough," or they're like embarrassed of how their body. I'm like,
All the
massage
time.
therapists don't.
And it breaks my heart because so many clients, I've had like literally clients of all sizes. Every single one was self-conscious about their bodies. Like a girl half my size, like literally perfect body. And she was like, oh, I think I'm going to get like this kind of body work or like plastic surgery. And then I had another girl the other day who was like, yeah, anyway, all the time.
But I mean, people, I think everybody can look at themselves. Well, hopefully not everybody. I would hope that there are people that can look at themselves and think, I look good. But I think we are our own worst critics.
Totally.
And so we look in the mirror and we see something and we are very quick to pick out our flaws, or at least the way we see our flaws, because to other people it might not be a flaw. But truly everybody is made the way that they're supposed to be. So be happy with it because it's perfect how it is.
Yeah.
Do you ever have to re-encourage? Like, have you ever had somebody that's come in that you can tell that they have that body issue that
Totally.
like, what do you say to them to like help? Because that's a moment where if you can tell, there's a point where you can actually do something to better their day. Like, do you say anything to, like, does that make sense?
I mean, if someone directly says like, oh, I'm so sorry about X, Y, or Z, I shut it down really fast. I'm like, no, you're perfect. Like, don't worry about this. Like, bodies are just bodies. Like, you're amazing. However,
Yeah.
But it depends on your relationship with the client too. Some people who I'm closer with, like, I have one girl who I just love her. She's so cool. And she has started dating someone new and was nervous about her body. And I was like, girl, I literally see you naked like every month. You're perfect. You're just fine. Like, stop overthinking it. I see everyone's body all the time.
Yeah.
Like, let it go. Everyone has cellulite, whether you're tiny, whether you're huge. Everybody has insecurities. Everybody has a double chin at a certain angle. Like, everybody has baby hairs. Like, it's okay. Like, we're a little more connected than we think we are. You think you're the only one that has whatever it is.
Yeah. Well, it's been very insightful today. You've given me a lot.
Vasectomies and the patriarchy.
Oh, man.
I thought you were going to like interview me.
That's it.
There we go. We're done.
I mean, that's what I do. This is
just
what
our
I do.
conversation.
Like, I cut
I love
hair
it.
and I talk to people and I find out like what makes them tick. What's their,
I love it.
what are their happy thoughts?
so
their
fun.
sad thoughts? What do they do? Like, this was fun to like hear the inside track of
Right,
what
because I
a
can
massage
never
thing-
tell you when you're on the table. I
Well,
can't.
and that's the thing. Like for me, I've always like again, there's always been fears, but shoot, next time I'm just gonna let them rip. Like I'm just kidding. But
And with that,
it's like,
folks, we are done with today's episode.
But no, it's like these are the kinds of things that and this is why I really wanted to start a podcast is because
Yeah.
I feel like there's things that even though like, we laugh and we kind of joke, but there's things that are very valuable from people and whether it's a small little take of what they do or something that they've done at home or something they've done, that's on the grand scale of changing the world. Everybody has something. Everybody has something to share. And
Totally
I
agree with
appreciate
you.
you sharing your life.
You're so welcome.
So.
The key takeaways are Mike's no longer afraid to fart.
Oh no, that's still gonna be like nightmares.
In our
about
follow-up
it.
episode,
Like,
I will let everyone know.
you'll be like, Mike, why are your glutes so tense? I'll be like, I'm holding it. No, I'm like, no. But no, thank you. It's
You're
been
welcome.
a pleasure.